Hey everyone, fascinating discussion today, diving into what's next for the Internet of Things with the head of the LoRa Alliance. Alper, how are you?
Good. Thank you, Evan. Good to see you. How are you doing?
I'm well, thanks so much, and so much excitement in the wireless space today and across so many diverse technology domains. And we're here to talk about one that you're particularly leading the charge on at the LoRa Alliance. Before that, maybe introduce yourself, a little bit about your background, and what's the mission and vision behind the LoRa Alliance?
Sure. So I am the CEO of LoRa Alliance, and I have been working in the telecom industry since '97. I started working on the TCP/IP standards in Internet Edging Task Force, and then I moved on to working on 4G and 5G. And around 2011, I got involved in back then so-called M2M. And in 2016, I discovered LoRaWAN and got involved in LoRa Alliance. I started working for Actility. And as part of Actility, I was the chair of the technical committee in the LoRa Alliance for the past 8 years, and later became the vice chair of the board for the past 6 years. And since October, I became the CEO. So I left Actility. Now I'm fully on board with LoRa Alliance and running this organization as its CEO. So just a few words on what LoRa Alliance is. LoRa Alliance is an international nonprofit industry association focusing on building the LoRaWAN technology and its global adoption. And in few words, LoRaWAN is a long-range, low-power wireless communication technology that is specifically designed for Internet of Things use cases.
Yeah, and how many use cases there are. We're going to get into all the applications and
Okay,
use
I think we're
cases.
gonna.
But
Okay.
one question is, I started in paging, so that kind of dates me in the industry along forgotten technology. But how
Yeah.
does LoRa compare to the other technology options in wireless? You now have satellite, of course, 5G, 4G, still have 3G. We've got
Sure.
Wi-Fi. It's a cornucopia out there. Where does LoRa fit in this mix?
Yeah, in a way, we may be getting more closer to the paging experience you had, like having few messages a day, but those are like super critical messages for you or anyone who's sending or receiving them, right? So this is where we're heading. So the LoRaWAN technology, let me tell you and the audience about the features, right? So it's defined by the long range nature, and by long range, what we mean is it is as long as reaching the low Earth orbiting satellites. When the
Uh-huh.
transmitter finds line of sight, as one can do with the low Earth orbiting satellites, it can reach 500 to 600 kilometers. Obviously, we don't always use it at this setting, right? We also use it terrestrially. So all that range actually is driven by the sensitivity of the radio. Once you constrain that radio by dropping in obstacles in front, like metallic, like the walls and all that, then it starts piercing through them. That's why you see LoRaWAN used even inside the buildings as well, where you don't really need range, but you need the radio sensitivity to get through many obstacles in the challenging RF environments. The second thing is the low power. It consumes as little power as a garage door opener, which, as you know, lasts like 5 years or even more than 10 years, right? So marrying the two by itself is a challenge, but obviously that wasn't a challenge enough for us. We didn't stop at that. We also created an ecosystem where building networks are very, very low cost. So a typical LoRaWAN base station, which we call LoRaWAN gateway, whether it's indoor or outdoor, the price point is converging towards Wi-Fi access points. So it is as low cost as that. And on top of that, it is using unlicensed band, much like Wi-Fi is, on a different frequency band. It's called sub-gig, meaning in US it's 915 megahertz. In Europe it's 868 megahertz. And being unlicensed band, it is accessible by anyone. People do build LoRaWAN networks at home, in the office, covering a whole city and covering a nation, and even providing planet-wide coverage using satellites. So this four features, the combination is so unique, it has been used for cracking problems that were not easy or possible in the past. That's what makes this technology very special. And obviously, we also have the LoRa Alliance that is growing, nurturing the ecosystem. We have more than 350 members, and it's an ever-growing list. And this technology is also endorsed by the ITU, International Telecommunications Union, and published as a recommendation.
Fantastic. What a great overview there. So let's talk about where the rubber hits the road, the applications. Where today is LoRaWAN seeing the biggest impact? Any standout use cases?
Yeah. So when you said how many use cases are there, and I was like, oh my God, like, nobody has counted yet, and it's truly amazing where we see applicability already. So this technology has been around for 10 years, and we have more than 100 million devices already connected. And just to give you some examples, the most known, the longest standing use case is the metering, the gas metering and water metering, where you don't have the power, yet these meters are in the most challenging places. So looking at that, just to drop in some examples, one of the utilities we have, Veolia in France, they have nearly 2 million water meters connected to LoRaWAN. And then jumping to another application in smart cities, streetlights. Tata Communications have been deploying streetlights connected to LoRaWAN networks, and they have more than 350,000 streetlights connected, including in India and in Middle East.
Wow.
Then let's go to a little bit more challenging areas. Let's try to use this technology in heavily metallic environment like oil refineries. Today, Shell, Chevron, and Total Energies have LoRaWAN deployments in their oil refineries. Then let's turn our attention to where the consumers walk into coverage. Starbucks stores. More than 10,000 Starbucks stores in North America have deployed LoRaWAN for cold chain monitoring. They used to read the temperature sensors manually, and that was consuming nearly half an hour on every store per day. Now it's done automatically thanks to the LoRaWAN connected temperature sensors in the stores, where they have nearly, on the average, 12 places to store the food, and they have temperature sensors in each. Then another example, panic buttons used at schools, at hospitals, at hotels. These panic buttons are LoRaWAN connected, and they do save lives today already. And one last example, because this list is really long, it is used in wildlife parks in Africa. Nearly 20 parks across Africa have deployed LoRaWAN networks to connect the big four, rhinos, giraffes, lion, and all that, and also the rangers and the ranger dogs and the various assets they have in the park. So we're seeing deployments not only helping the businesses, but also helping planet and people as well.
Wow, what a wonderful journey you're on with the technology. You must be seeing big investment from tech companies in the technology and new applications, new devices. Who's investing in LoRaWAN these days? What kind of companies?
Well, actually, we have all sorts. We have public operators that have deployed LoRaWAN, even the tier one GSM operators like Orange in France. They have a nationwide network. Swisscom in Switzerland, it's a nationwide network. KPN in Netherlands, nationwide network. And we have several other tier one GSM operators that have deployed LoRaWAN along with their cellular broadband and also LTE-M. And then we have enterprises like the oil refineries or the car manufacturers like Volvo, like Volkswagen, or other manufacturing sites like Airbus and Schneider. They have deployed LoRaWAN in a private network setting. And we also have community networks. These are crowdsourced networks. Thanks to the openness of the technology and the low cost and highly accessibility, now we see people deploying LoRaWAN on their own and banding together with other like-minded people under various objectives, whether it's being part of the developer community or being part of other type of communities. And they are building international community networks serving various types of use cases. So we have enterprises building private networks, public operators building public networks for B2B, B2B2C as well. and also communities and individuals building their LoRaWAN network for having connected home and various other applications at home.
Wonderful. Wow, that's incredible. So when you look down the road 5 years or more, where do you see LoRaWAN headed? What are the kind of breakthroughs you're hoping for and the roadmap that you're headed down?
Yeah, so this technology, like I said, we've been building public, private, and community networks. And this combination is very unique to LoRaWAN. There is no other wireless data communication technology that lets you build this variety of networks at scale. And we didn't stop just on the ground. We also have satellite operators providing LoRaWAN connectivity. Today, we have 3 members in the LoRa Alliance. EchoStar Mobile providing pan-European coverage using a geosatellite, and Lacuna and Plan S providing LEO-based coverage all around the world. And moving forward, we're going to see more satellite providers coming into the picture and providing multiple layers of coverage on the ground. And that will be also backed by, on one side, the public operators, some of which are providing nationwide networks, some of which are providing on-demand deployments. And then we see tremendous amount of momentum behind smart buildings and facility management. Because the technology is very low cost and it can penetrate through walls, any use case that requires getting to every corner of a building takes full advantage of LoRaWAN. That's why, for example, very recently, AT&T announced that they are starting a connected spaces service using LoRaWAN, and that's the latest addition among the US operators. So we're going to see the networks in the buildings proliferating. And the nice thing is that the radio signals do not stop at the walls. They go beyond to the neighborhood. So that also augments the coverage on the ground, which we're able to integrate all together, whether it's a private network operated by the IT of an office building, or the public operator on the ground, or the satellite. We're able to integrate them. So as we move forward, all these networks are getting integrated. And then we're adding enhanced plug and play to this. And we're on our way to build a new utility, meaning that just like when you have an electric equipment, you just plug into the socket on the wall, it turns on. You will buy a device, a LoRaWAN device, you'll just turn it on and it'll connect to the D network. Now that D network will be backed by several networks operating collectively through integration. And this is where we're heading towards. So as such, actually, we are already erecting the 4th pillar of wireless data communication industry, along with the cellular technologies for wireless broadband, for Wi-Fi, for local area network broadband, and Bluetooth for mostly wearable and the consumer electronics. The 4th pillar, the LPWAN, that's carrying the wireless data communication roof, is now being erected by the LoRaWAN technology and people building this technology. So this is where we are getting towards becoming one of the 4 pillars, and also turning LoRaWAN into utility to connect practically anything and everything that needs a connection.
Amazing. And there must be a lot of synergy with all of the AI and edge computing projects that are popping up, getting all that data back from the edge of the network. Tell me more about those opportunities.
Sure. So we are definitely not doing this single-handedly. There are several technology trends that we are feeding each other, and AI is one of them. For AI to have relevance with the physical world, it needs to connect, to pull the data, process, and then send the command to the physical world. So we are going to be doing a heavy lifting for AI to touch the ground by connecting it to the physical world. And on top of that, we see the AI specific integrations happening with the sensors as well. Now, there is the edge computing, where the whole radio core network can be run on a bundled base station and core network element on the edge, like at a factory floor. And the whole LoRaWAN network can be run inside a single box, and the AI processing is also co-located. And further to that, some of the sensors, that's even deeper than the edge now, the sensor itself We do have sensors that are LoRaWAN connected and running the AI algorithms on them, like vibration sensors or the image processing sensors. Instead of transmitting large amounts of data, they do the processing locally. They only send the events and the triggers. And we have several of those already used in retail, in refiners, in factories, for rotating machinery sensing, and also counting people, detecting incidents. We are already pretty much married with the AI and feeding each other and helping both trends accelerate.
Brilliant. So you're headed to Mobile World Congress in a couple of weeks, as am I, probably many of our listeners and viewers. What are you most excited about for MWC? Maybe give us a preview of what you're expecting this year.
Sure. Yeah. So we are going to be meeting several of our members and prospects and partners, not only from the operator market, but also the enterprise. On top of that, it's our 10th year anniversary. And this whole journey had started 10 years ago at MWC. So we're going to have our 10th year anniversary by having a reception at the Netherlands Pavilion on Tuesday evening. So I would like to invite everyone, especially you, Evan, come and join us, meet the ecosystem, and have a chance to hear from every individual who's building LoRaWAN products and services, and how exciting a journey it has been, and what more we have down in the pipeline.
Fantastic. Well, can't wait to break the champagne, celebrate 10 years. Was at the Dutch Pavilion, so maybe it'll be Heineken's instead. But either way, I hope to see you there and learn more about LoRaWAN, a very exciting opportunity. Thanks so much, Alper, for joining.
Thank you, Evan. Thank you for having me.
And thanks, everyone. Thanks for listening and watching, and see you at MWC. Take care.